Hey everybody, it's Captain Rom here with another supply chain and logistics video. You might be wondering why is it that I'm wearing a winter jacket today in my video while I usually wear a suit? Well, the reason is 2,000 miles of ice and 230 million people under a storm alert in the United States. This isn't just a snowstorm, it's Winter Storm Fern. It is a historic blockbuster system that has declared war on American infrastructure. From the heart of Texas to tip of Maine, we are seeing triple threat, record-breaking snow of a 1,800-mile corridor of catastrophic ice and wind chills hitting minus 55 degrees. That is cold. With 22 states under a state emergency and National Guard being mobilized, the message is clear. The country is effectively on pause. But the world of logistics, the crisis is just beginning. Let's dive a little deeper into how this will affect logistics. The timing couldn't be worse for Fern, as it is slamming the arteries of U.S. commerce. The I-40 and I-75 corridors, which, by the way, haul 75% of U.S. logistics, basically have been put on pause, and they're almost not usable. Major carriers like FedEx and UPS are battling ice at critical hubs in Memphis and Louisville. And basically, we are looking at more than 10,000 flights cancellation and a fleet paralyzed where roughly 300,000 trucks are basically put on pause and parked right now. Hey, you cannot hit the road with this weather going like this. Basically, it's going to be a domino effect when the trucks are stopped and the warehouses are back up. And basically, when the warehouses are back up, the shelves go bare, right? And the experts are estimating this thing is going to basically have an economical effect or economical hit of a $25 billion, which is a huge amount by any stretch of imagination. So you might ask me, okay, Rom, you told me how bad the winter storm is, and essentially how is it going to affect the logistics as far as like, you know, the corridors being closed like I-75 and the shelves are going to be empty. What am I going to do about it? If you're a shipper, how do you survive the deep freeze? You can't really control weather, but you can control your response to it. And here's a couple of things to keep in mind as far as basically responding to Storm Fern action. Essentially, pivot to visibility. I would use real-time, basically tracking system to track the routes that your, freight has to travel and check the weather on those routes and see how those roads are affected. I would look for alternative routes. Maybe you want to use basically the southern route, the southern lanes, or consider rail and basically the air bridge as alternative, right, for high priority shipments. I would also basically protect the cargo. I would use essentially protect from freeze services, right? And I would also use insulating packaging. If you're doing like a regular dry van right now with this weather, that dry van essentially is going to act like a refrigerator or a freezer and nothing more, right? And buffer your lead times, okay? If something was going to take 3 days, 4 days previously, it might take 7, 8 days now with the stoppages and the routes closing and the trucks having to reroute and everything in that regards. So if you're a shipper, communicate deeply with your provider, with your logistics provider, kind of talk about, okay, how many more days do you think this thing going to take now, considering the winter storm? What alternative options do I have as far as errors? Are you guys rerouting if I need to go to certain areas? And basically pre-plan your freight a little better so you don't get stuck. Look, folks, it's nothing different than if you were to go snowboarding or skiing, right? You always want to check the route. Hey, if it typically take me 2 hours, it's going to take me 5 hours now. We live in California. I take 80 a lot to go up to Tahoe and snowboard out there. Sometimes I'll go towards South Lake Tahoe and snowboard in Heavenly. I think it's 50 that goes there. Sometimes 50 is close, so I take 80 and go around. But it takes me an hour to go around it. So you have to do a lot of pre-planning and checking the roads and stuff like that, and find alternative routes. And maybe if your freight is not that time sensitive, maybe you can wait and go out a week later. So these are all things to consider while dealing with a winter storm, but you're really going to be able to make as good decisions as your freight provider is going to communicate with you and let you know that, hey, these are the alternative routes that we have. These are alternative modes of transportation that we have. This is how much more time we think it's going to take, and basically give you that data, give you that visibility over data so you can make proper decision. Stay warm, stay safe, Thank you so much for tuning in and watching another supply chain video. Like always, I'm Captain Rom here, and I hope that you had some fun with me today watching this video. Have a good day. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.